right now. Very pleased to have with us in studio NRA news commentator Natalie Foster. How are you, Natalie?
Hey, Cam. Great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming to studio.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Here, you were here in D.C. actually over the weekend, right?
I was. It was such a privilege. I've always wanted to do Memorial Day in D.C., so it was really special.
So what'd you do?
Well, I spent Saturday at Arlington, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went out and saw all of the headstones. And,
Yeah.
and, you know, I'd been before, but this was a particularly profound visit for me because I went with a friend who'd been deployed a few times. And we went to Section 60, which, of course, is the Iraq and Afghanistan war.
Mm-hmm.
And we got an opportunity to really talk about these people, and she knew several of them. So it was just really, really amazing to, you can go to Arlington and you can see the headstones and the amazing monuments and that kind of thing. And it's beautiful, and it really, really represents so much of history. But when you go to that Section 60 and there are people there that, there are families camped out there, and it was really, really, it changed my perception, actually. I mean, it changed my life, honestly.
Yeah, you're right. When we think about, when we say, Memorial Day is a day to remember and say thanks to those who gave their lives for our freedom. And a lot of times maybe we're thinking about the World War II soldier or the soldier in Vietnam. We're not, and it's not a conscious slight anyway, on those guys and women who are serving right now, who died 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Right.
But we think of it in terms of history because it's Memorial Day.
We do.
So to put it into that proper context, I think, as you did, that is very, very powerful.
I will never look at Memorial Day the same way, and I would really encourage anyone out there who ever has the opportunity to come, Memorial Day or otherwise, go over there and go to Section 60 and see those people who, were born the same year as you. And, we were walking by, and my friend said, I remember her. She had red hair, and she loved to run marathons, and, it made the headstones come to life, and we really need to think of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's our freedom. Those are the people that actually went out, and they have defended our freedom and freedom for people all over the world. It's not just us. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. I'm glad that you had the opportunity
It was
to do
amazing. It was amazing.
And then you said you went to the National Archives.
I did. I went to the archives yesterday on Memorial Day because I really wanted to go and visit the 2A.
It was open? It wasn't closed for the
No, it was
sequester?
open. Yeah,
Nice.
I know. Yeah, they actually kept that one open. No, but it was really amazing to go and see those documents. And, that's another thing that the older I get, the more important they are, the more they mean to me. And, I was looking at those old faded documents, and one of the encouraging things about it actually was that, in that Bill of Rights where the Second Amendment is, it's really amazing because most of it, it's an old document. A lot of it's faded.
Yeah.
But there are some parts of it that really, really stand out, and they're just very bold, very black still. And the Second Amendment is one of them. And I thought that was extremely symbolic because I think, seeing what's happened recently, it just really stands as a reminder and as a symbol for all of us that this part of our Constitution, this is what makes us who we are. Mm-hmm. And this is what defends all of the other freedoms. And it should be bold. It should be black still, Yep. It was exciting for me. I was actually really encouraged by that fact.
That's really cool. Yeah, I remember the first time when we moved here like 9 years ago, and I went one Saturday, and there were no lines, which kind of depressed me. I was like, wow, you could just like walk right in.
There were lots of lines yesterday.
Oh, good.
So there you go.
I'm glad to hear that. And you see the paper there, and the light's all dim, and it's so faded, and it's so old, and you think, if it was just a piece of paper, would be hosed, and we would have been hosed a long, long time ago.
Indeed.
But it's not just those words on that paper. It's
That's right.
words that we all carry with us. And we've been talking about not just the Second Amendment, but the First Amendment a lot these days. And Dick Durbin made some asinine comment about maybe bloggers and people on Twitter don't have First Amendment rights or the freedom of the press. and so I started rereading the Bill of Rights, and the preamble always gets forgotten. And it's so simple. It just says the convention of a number of states having at the time of their adopting the Constitution expressed a desire in order to prevent misconstruction or abuse of its powers that further declaratory and restrictive clauses should be added. And as extending the ground of public confidence in the government will best ensure the beneficent ends of its institution. So in other words, people were worried about the government getting too big and trying to do too much and getting involved in their lives, and they said, hey, we got some ideas. These are areas where you can't go. These are no-go zones, and that's what our Bill of Rights are.
Right.
it says it right there. I don't know how we have these arguments over, well, what is this supposed to mean, Natalie? And are these
Right.
things really germane in a 21st century society?
And yes, they absolutely are. And I'm so glad that you took the time to read that part of it, because what struck me too was watching all those kids in that room and all the families and even people from all sorts, all over the world, and looking at it and reading it. And actually the security guard said, this is a viewing, not a reading. And I said, I thought to myself, you know what, you're right. And we need to take the time to read it. We need to take the time, everyone. It is 4 pages. It's 4 pages. It is not hard to do.
Right.
That's the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights is 1. And the Declaration of Independence is 1. This is not hard. Let's do it. All of us should do it. And it's so critical that we do that and really remember what it's all about, because how many of us have actually taken the time to do that?
Not many of us.
Right, and to go back and review what they were really talking about. And the genius of the Founding Fathers is that they understood human nature, and it hasn't changed since then. And that's why that document is still alive today,
Yeah.
and just as germane as it was the day they wrote it.
Absolutely. I was struck when I started rereading this again, like how many of the first 10 amendments dealt with the court system and crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remembered, oh, well, you know what? These were guys who wanted to ensure that the government could not arrest you on trumped-up charges, throw
Right.
you in jail for months or years at a time without a trial. I mean, these were guys who were worried about an abusive government,
Right.
and these were the safeguards to prevent it. And when you look at it with that mindset, it's not that all government is bad, but it's that, as James Madison said, men were not created angels. And that includes the
Right.
men who go to work in the government. We have to have this system of checks and balances. We recognize the judicial branch and the legislative branch and the executive branch, but we the people are a check and balance as well. We're a part of the system.
Oh, I think we're the most important part of the system.
Absolutely.
As my colleague Dom says, we run the system. It's our job. We're in charge. They're not in charge. We are. We elect them to represent us and to go out there and do our bidding. And people, we've forgotten that. We've really forgotten that. And it's time that we remember. And it's time that we look back at those founding documents and really, really review how important it is.
Absolutely. All right, I would be remiss. Have you had any range time lately?
Range time, I did. I went down to Beretta just the other day.
Nice.
Yes, they were wonderful and hosted me, and I got to shoot, all of their cadre of firearms, which was really wonderful. And they're just such wonderful folks down there, and they're so dedicated to the cause and also to women shooting. So obviously that's a passion project for me. And so I had a great time. I can't say that I'm proud of my target. It was pretty embarrassing. Which is another reminder to go and do it regularly, but it was a lot of fun. It's never, it's never not fun.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Now, as a Californian, what do you think about microstamping now being in effect?
Oh gosh, yeah, that'll be super effective. Super effective, right? They come up with all of these little ways to track, and all they're doing is again really hurting law-abiding citizens. I mean, they're not prohibiting crime, and there are proven ways to do that, and they won't capitalize upon them, and it's really frustrating. But there are a lot of really, really bold, strong gun owners out there in California who will stand up for their rights. They've done it time and time again, and I'm proud to be one of them.
Well, listen, we're proud to have you out there, and we need all the California gun owners to be active and involved right now.
No question.
But it does, I think it does demonstrate, and I'm hopeful, and I feel kind of bad because y'all are going to be the guinea pigs out in California.
As usual.
I know, but I'm hopeful that this will demonstrate the fallacy of the microstamping legislation, because what's going to happen is you're not going to have any new handguns coming into California.
Right.
The innovation is going to come to a crawl in the state of California. Mm-hmm. Criminals aren't going to be impacted by that.
No, not at all. Not at all. And, like I said, fortunately, we have some people who will, fight all of this. And, they've had good luck in the courts because the courts still recognize that it's unconstitutional. But, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. And we need a lot of people out there writing and doing their part.
Yeah. All right. I'm curious about something else while we've got you here. We're now 5 months into the renewed gun control debate. Mm-hmm. And part of this has been what I've been calling the campaign of shame.
Right.
You're an awful person for not supporting our gun control plans. You're an awful person for not supporting that common sense gun measure. And we know
that's my favorite: common sense and reasonable.
Oh, yeah,
those two words, because all of a sudden, as gun owners, we're no longer reasonable or have any common sense. So it's also condescending.
Yeah, well, absolutely it is. And
Right.
I know that a lot of this has been targeted at women. So I'm curious, have you seen a drop off in the number of women coming to you saying, Natalie, I want to know about guns?
Oh gosh, no.
No
Quite the
drop-off.
opposite. Quite the opposite.
Are they more furtive? Are they now like, hey Natalie, keep it on the down low, but can I like
No.
sneak off? No.
They're not. People are just as bold. I think they see through it. I think they see through the rhetoric of it all. I think people are smarter than buying into all of this. These talking heads don't know what they're talking about. They really, really don't. And fortunately, the American citizen is still aware of that, and they know that, wait, I know what's better for me. I know what my rights are, and I know that I still need to be able to defend myself from that person who's going to get the gun regardless, And the other thing is, I still like to go and have fun. All these women, there are so many that are getting into it, of course, for self-protection, but there are more and more that just do it for fun because they really enjoy it.
Right.
So, and people are willing to protect that right, and more women are joining the club. I mean, I see more female gun clubs popping up all over the country, and it's really exciting and fun to watch, and encouraging too for the legacy of the Second Amendment.
I wonder too if we're not going to see a spillover effect because look, let's be honest, ammo's kind of hard to find now.
Kinda.
Yeah, right. So I wonder if we're not going to actually see, like, I know a couple of women, one friend in particular who's taken up bow hunting.
Oh, good for her.
And taking up archery.
Wonderful.
And so I wonder if we're not going to see a spillover. Okay, you know what? I can't get ammo right now, but you know what? I can get that bow. And I've seen some really cool stuff. I want to learn to,
I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely. The bow, or maybe they're taking Krav Maga classes or some sort of self-defense. I think there's a lot of spillover. Firearms end up becoming a lifestyle. The fun of it, the competition, and of course the self-defense, but really it's so much more than that. And then, I learned in some of my self-defense classes that were not necessarily firearms related, but were part of that spillover that you're talking about. I learned situational awareness and that kind of thing, and not to go out to a parking garage, by myself in the dark without my keys in my hand, ready to go,
Right.
So little things like that. I think you're exactly right. There's plenty of spillover in lots of different areas like that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Natalie, I appreciate you coming in studio. It's so good to see you.
Oh, always good to see you too. Thank you.
You going to be
so
back
much.
here again soon?
Hopefully.
4th of July-ish, maybe?
Oh, that would be fun. I'd love to be here.
I have never gone near the mall for the 4th of July.
Oh,
I'll tell
really?
You that. Yeah.
I was in Boston last 4th of July, and I got to tell you, it was pretty special. That fireworks show, there's some the patriotism really comes out in Boston on the 4th of July.
Absolutely. I'm just one of those people, like, to me, the perfect 4th of July is not surrounded by tens of thousands of people. It's just that neighborhood cookout with the
party,
kids,
yeah.
and everybody pools their fireworks together, which sounds awfully socialistic now that I think about it. And they enjoy the community.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a community thing, not a socialist thing.
Socializing.
Exactly,
Very
socializing,
different.
not socialism. Hey Natalie, thank you. And if folks want to watch your commentaries, NRAnews.com,
Yep.
right?
NRAnews.com, and under the Commentators tab, you'll see myself and Dom Rosso and Colion Noir and the lovely gents I get to work with. And you can check it out there.
All right, and we just tweeted a link to the latest one at Cam & Company for following along on Twitter. Natalie Foster, thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you for having me. Can't wait.